Good evening, Vegas sports fans. I'm Rob Hefner, aka Vegas Rob, the mayor. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Ken the Bat Fry.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing? What's up, Raider Nation?
Things are going pretty well out here. It was really windy today. So the,
Oh,
the
yeah?
wind's been blowing everything around, and of course, when it doesn't rain out here, the visibility isn't always good when it's windy because it blows all this crap that normally the rain would wash away. So yeah, that's kind of been my day, making sure things haven't been blowing off the porch, and making sure that things are fastened down that need to be, so they're not flying all over the place.
Now, let me ask you a question, Rob. Is it normally windy out there, or is it like rare to get like windstorms or anything like that?
You'll get windstorms, this time of year and during the monsoon season. So there is a time of year for it.
No, okay. And
Yeah.
so, like you said about the lack of rain, usually it's pretty dusty, so that can't be good for anything out there.
Right. Definitely. So, yeah, I would say let's get right into it.
Let's hop into it, brother. After the bye week, right?
Yeah, we're coming off the bye week. We're playing the Texans tomorrow here at Allegiant Stadium, and what are your thoughts? Going into this game. This is definitely a game that I would say we must win. We're at a point where we're talking must win at this point, and we should be able to win this game. And I emphasize the word should.
Should, and that's the thing, Rob. The Texans are in dire straits. Also, Adam Glenn's checking in, saying, "What up? What up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, brother? Thanks for checking us out, man. I appreciate it." The Houston Texans 1-3-1. Their only win against the Jags last week. They tied the Colts first week of the season, but everything else they've been getting spanked. So, oh man, the Phillies are going nuts here now. A quick update, Rob. The Phillies are up. It looks like 8-6 right now.
Nice.
I hear lots of cheering behind me, so I'm sure Alec Boehm just did something. I don't know what. But anyway, yeah, so the Texans, they're really struggling now. They're not very good offensively. Defensively, they're not terrible. But they're not great either. There's nobody really that stands out on their offense or defense. Offensively, their running back, I have his name, Damian Pierce. He's pretty good. 412 yards, average 99 yards per game rushing. It reminded me, I was going through the stats with him. It reminded me a lot of the way the Raiders were treating Jacobs earlier in the season, except the only difference is Russ Burkhead early in the season was getting more carries than what Damian Pierce was. And they kind of,
right.
I think they kind of realized what they had in Damian Pierce, and he started getting the majority of carries. He started churning up a lot of yards. So I mean, that's somebody to watch. Davis Mills, just over 1,000 yards passing, compared to like DC has 1,280 yards passing. Davis Mills has 1,050, and that's with one more game than what DC has played in. So Davis Mills isn't too much of a threat to pass. He's averaging 192 yards a game, which is 26 in the NFL. So the passing attack isn't really there. And like looking at the receivers, there's nobody that really stands out as a threat. Their top receiver, Nico Collins, only 200 yards receiving, 272. So there's not a whole lot of offensive threats. It seems like they lean on their defense. Their defense plays well. They play fast. They're young. Their secondary has played decent in some points, but it's really like a no-name team. It's a game that doesn't really scare you until it scares you. Until you're looking at the fourth quarter and it's 10-10 or something stupid like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. And Pierce definitely concerns me. The running back, he is going to be interesting to watch, but really, like you said, from an offensive standpoint, there's not anybody there that's a potential threat on the offensive side of the ball, for the Texans. But the defense does scare me a little bit, because we have had some offensive woes where, especially in the red zone, where we should be able to put points on the board, and we haven't been able to put points in the board in like red zone type of situations. So their running game and their defense does concern me a little bit. Going into the game tomorrow.
This could be one of those type of games, Rob, where your offense kind of gets right. That's something I'd look to, like our offense getting right in the red zone. So I feel like we're going to have a bunch of trips into the red zone, and this is a good opportunity to kind of find out what works, what doesn't work. And one of the things that's going to hurt us is Darren Waller's ruled out for Sunday.
Yes, I did see that on the injury report. Today when I was looking at the final injury report before we went on the air, and having him out is going to be a big loss for us on Sunday. Definitely, we've paid him, all this money, and we've given him this, contract extension, but, has he really lived up to the money this far, Ken?
As of right now, Rob, no way.
No, I don't think so. Definitely not. So, having him out, is definitely a concern. And then also having Nate Hobbs out for a minimum of 4 games, on the IR, that's not going to be good either, because, defensively, in so many areas, he's a valuable player, on the field. So, we are going into this game banged up and with some concerns, for sure.
Well, with Nate Hobbs going out, it was pretty interesting when I read that he toughed it out that game. He actually fractured his hand or broke his hand in that game against who the hell did we play last?
Kansas City.
He actually fractured his hand in there, and he stayed in the game and actually played pretty well. So I was surprised. I was surprised with his toughness there, but I'm also surprised that he's sitting out. I assume he had to have surgery, because you see time and time again guys getting like their hands wrapped up or whatever with broken hands and still playing through it. So I assume he had to have plates or something put in his hand where he's on IR for 4 weeks. And the Raiders also signed a defensive back to the practice squad, Darren Evans, I believe so. That's what I'm seeing here. I knew they signed somebody. That's the transaction that I'm thinking of here. Could be, I'm not sure. But with Nate Hobbs not back there, I mean, he's been a huge he's been a huge part of our defense, our secondary. And also, I seen today that I think I sent you the graphic. Rock Ya-Sin is considered by the Pro Football Focus as one of the top shutdown corners in the league, which is really surprising, because our defense does give up a lot of chunk plays, but for the most part, as a unit, they've done okay. They haven't done good. They haven't done bad. They've been okay, but there's certain guys in that team that have really stood out individually. As a unit, but individually, there's some guys like Mad Max, on the defensive line with rushing the quarterback and getting sacks the way he is, and then Rock Ya-Sin and Nate Hobbs, and I've mentioned Divine Diablo over and over again. Now with Denzel Perryman back last game, I felt like our defense looked a lot better, and I think we did terrible against Kansas City. That's a high octane offense, and there was a couple times where we made some really big stops. We did give up 30 points, but there were some big stops that we made. And our offense just couldn't put the touchdowns into the end zone.
They were talking about Perryman on a radio show that I listen to here on Fox Sports radio. Almost every day I listen to the show, and I don't know if they interviewed him or who they were talking to, but apparently he drinks like 2 or 3 Starbucks coffees every day. No wonder he's out there jacking people up, and he's on like a caffeine trip.
He's like, give me a venti, give me a venti.
Yeah.
Extra shot of espresso, please. I got to go hit some running backs.
Yeah, definitely. So no wonder he's jacking people up.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is, I think we're gonna see a lot more of Josh Jacobs again. I think hopefully the Raiders continue with that against Houston. That they continue running the ball first, and then work off the pass with that. Taking your shots downfield, and with Waller out, we still have Foster Moreau there, who's a pretty decent receiving tight end. Not only is he a good blocker, good blocking tight end, but he's actually a pretty decent receiving tight end. So it's good to still have him. The last I checked, he wasn't on the injury report. He was on it, but they didn't have him listed as anything. So that tells me he's healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, he definitely is ready to go. And then to piggyback off of what you said regarding Jacobs and the running game, if it's working, we got to go with it. We got to pound the rock. We got to figure out ways to score and keep the offense moving for sure. Because we're at a point now where we have to start gelling together if we're going to have a shot at being a contender at this point for the playoffs. We have to win this game tomorrow. I don't think there's
absolutely.
I don't think there's any way we make the playoffs tomorrow if we lose to the Texans. I mean, that's going to be hard. That would be hard to overcome. I think.
I think Raider Nation would bust the nut on that one. That'd be terrible if we lost to the Houston Texans. I mean, and like over the next, I think it was the 6 games we broke down last week. There's nowhere where we can afford to trip up. Those are all extremely very winnable games, and we need to go out there and take care of business. The Raiders need to go out there and take care of business. Or if they drop any one of those games, I could see it pretty much being their season. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. Jacobs has been, very, very, very effective. To start the season here. So you definitely have to give him the ball until somebody significantly stops him. If it's working, you gotta give it to him. I don't see any other way of getting it done at this point.
And with our offensive line, going the way they are, they've been run blocking well. Their pass blocking hasn't been terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I would expect Jacobs to get the ball between 20 and 25 times with the run, and maybe even getting Zamir White some freaking carries here. We haven't really seen a whole lot from him. But like we said last week with our next 6 games, so we got the Texans, who are 1-3-1, the Saints, who could be a tough matchup, 2-5, the Jags 2-4, the Colts 3-1, which could be tough. That's at home. The Broncos 2-4. That's a must win there. Seattle 3-3. I mean, at Seattle. So those are all wins. That are very, very winnable games that we have to win. If we drop any one of those games, I think granted it would be 1-5, 5 losses. You could still go on a really good run, but it's going to be a lot harder because we'll still have Kansas City to play. We'll still have New England to play. We'll still have Los Angeles Chargers to play. So it's only going to get tougher after Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, and even that Seattle game with the way Geno Smith has been playing recently, that could be a challenge. That could be a challenge for the Raiders. I mean, I don't really discount any of these teams because New Orleans, it depends on what team shows up to play. And we have to travel. We have to travel there. So that's quite an interesting place to play.
Oh, absolutely. It's never easy at the Superdome there, and I'd expect it to be loud. They love their football, and like you said with the Saints, you just don't know what Saint team is going to show up. Is it going to be the same team that shows up and puts 30 points on the board, or is it the same team that's going to show up and put up 13? They're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here. But Houston's pretty much, we know who they are. It seems like they're a run-first team. They don't put up a whole lot of points. They try to rely on their defense. And they gave up 20 points to Indy, 19 to Denver, 23 to the Bears. Bears. 34 to Los Angeles Chargers, and then 6 to Jacksonville. So they don't give up a whole lot of points besides that one game to Los Angeles Chargers. But offensively, that's a terrific team there. So you can't really blame them there. And they only lost to them by 10. So either they put up a decent run to make it closer, or it was a good game.
Right. Definitely. They the Raiders have to, come out and put points on the board, and then two, they need to cut out these stupid penalties that put us back in like long yardage situations. The penalties will also kill you too, and this is a game where if we need to possibly iron some shit out and get some shit, together, this would be the game, this would be the game to do it in for sure. But, I still, based on some of the things that I've seen, with the Raiders, late in games, they have to build up a lead, and keep a lead and get themselves in a situation where they're going to be on top instead of playing from behind at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there was a couple of our losses that we did have the leads, and we just kind of gave it away to them.
Right.
To the penalty thing, we've been doing pretty decent with penalties this season compared to past years, past Raider years. I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of where every game we would have 10 to 15 penalties, but the only difference is like we might have 4 penalties, but those penalties are coming in such a terrible time. We'll be in the red zone, 3rd and 1, and there's a hold that puts it at like 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 13 because it's a spot foul, and it's just in such inopportune moments where you have these terrible penalties. I think our highest penalized game might have been against Kansas City. I think we had 9 for like 88 yards. But it's something that they've done better than past seasons. And it didn't seem like it mattered who was coaching because, since their Super Bowl year, we've had 100 coaches, and it's always been the same result penalty-wise. But it seems like this year they've been fairly disciplined. It's just it comes at terrible times, really bad times.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my chair tomorrow for sure. I have every game so far. There's not really a game that I've felt overly confident about where I've been like, oh, we could definitely take this game. And I don't want to go into this overconfident.
No, but it's hard not to. You know what I mean? It's so hard not to because you know how much better we are than what we've shown. And Houston is what they are. They're not very good. They're still kind of recovering, from the Deshaun Watson era and stuff like that. And maybe in a couple seasons, they did have a couple of years where they're a really good team. When old Dimple Chin, the guy from Penn State, under the Belichick guy, coaches for Alabama, who was there? What's his name? Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, O'Brien.
When he was there, they didn't have a bad team. They had a pretty good team. They made the playoffs a couple times. They actually bounced the Raiders out of the playoffs that year that DC got hurt the last week or 2 weeks before the end of the season, where he broke his leg or something like that. If you remember,
yeah,
remember that.
I was actually impressed for the most part what Bill O'Brien was able to do down there during most of his tenure.
Well, it ended in a lot of turmoil. It seemed like there's a lot of infighting, between receivers and
right.
quarterbacks and defensive backs. It just seemed like either the Eagles got too big, or it just he lost the lot. You hear a lot. They lost the locker room, which is idiotic because these are grown ass men, but this is how they act. Whatever, you got a job to get out there and do it. How do you lose a locker room? That's one thing I'll never understand, and I'll never accept as an excuse as to why a coach gets fired because he lost the locker room. You are grown ass men with a job that you're getting paid millions of dollars. Do your fucking job.
Right. Exactly. And I've never understood that. And I think that's why a lot of these, college coaches, they try to transition into the pros and they can't make it because, it's harder to control grown men or,
Yeah, millionaires.
than it is college kids.
Yeah, it's harder to control millionaires than it is to control a college kid that's barely eating enough food.
Right.
But now the college kids are getting money now too. So I mean, but not quite like the pros are. It's I guess it's a different type of setup with your NIL and stuff like that.
Right. And I'm in support of the NIL to a certain extent because a lot of these athletes are, generating millions of dollars for their prospective universities. But one thing that concerns me with it is, are kids just going to go to school so they can make that NIL money versus going and getting the education? And is the game of college football, as a whole, is it going to suffer? Is the quality of play going to suffer, because of that? Those are some of my concerns that I have, with the whole NIL thing and NIL, setup and what have you.
And that's one of the things I don't understand the whole NIL system, but like in my thought is like, the Power 5 schools, like your Alabamas, your LSUs, your Michigans, your Ohio States, your USCs, they're going to have more money there. So they're going to attract the better talent, which they already were, but that kind of leaves like, your tier 2 power schools, like a Pitt, a Cincinnati, Kansas, or teams like that don't really have much of a chance to bring in the bigger talent because they don't quite have the money that these other schools do. But I mean, I kind of like that goes back to your recruiting and stuff. But if you're a 5-star athlete, where would you rather go, Southern California or Pittsburgh? I mean,
well, Southern California, they've got better looking women in Southern California than they do Pittsburgh.
better looking women, better weather. It's But I guess that the gas is a lot higher out there. So suck it, Southern California.
Well, that is the case. But Southern California this time of year is beautiful. You could go to a football game out there and be in 80-degree weather.
Yeah, and it's and say it's hockey also. There's nothing like going to a hockey game to cool down.
Right.
What keys to victory here?
Yeah, what else did you have for keys to victory? I mean, like we said, you have to give the ball to Jacobs and utilize the running game as long as it's working, and hopefully too we can see more out of Devontae Adams, Foster Moreau, hopefully he'll be able to step up, in Waller's absence. I mean, we have to try to put points up on the board against this defense. I mean, offensively, all they really have that we both agree on this. All they really have is the running back, from an offensive standpoint. So really, it's their running game and defense that concerns me a little bit. So we have to just get our offense going. Give Jacobs the rock. I'm in favor of giving him the rock, 20, 25 times a game. Based on what he's done, so far he's been very steady for us, very effective. So you have to give him the ball at this point, and then defensively in the red zone too. We have to be effective and prevent them from scoring. But when we get into our final score predictions, I don't really see Houston putting up any more than 10 or 14 points, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's where like for our defense, my keys to victory is stopping or slowing down Damian Pierce, and don't allow any big plays through the passing game. Because Mills, Davis Mills, he's not a big passer. He does throw the ball about 24, 25 times a game. Like I said, he's averaging just about 200 yards a game passing. So he is able to pass. He doesn't turn the ball over very often. So that's a big thing. But just, stop the run and don't allow the big play. I mean, that's it. It's like Schwarber just hit a home run, 9-6 Phillies.
Nice.
So don't allow the big play. That's what it comes down to. Stop the run. Don't allow everything over the top. And I think we'll be good on defense. Offensively, like you said about Jacobs, feed the man the rock. He's been running the ball violently. His cuts have been absolutely outrageous, amazing. He's busting through the first line of defense, and he's making that one cut and then getting back upfield again where he's not dancing, hopping to the outside. He's going north and south right now very well, running between the tackles, running outside the tackles. He's looked really, really good. I'm hopefully we can get him re-signed. Hopefully the rest of his season, I should say, goes the way it is now, and then we get him re-signed.
Right. That's what I'm hoping for. At this point too, and if he keeps playing the way he is, I mean, they almost would have to re-sign him. You would be surprised, I think, if he's been playing as well as he has, and they don't re-sign him.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised that the way he's playing now, if it continues, I'd be really surprised if they don't re-sign him. But if he keeps continuing playing the way he is, it's going to be harder to re-sign him. He's going to want more money, and can you justify that kind of money for a running back?
Right, and to it, if you got Zamir White waiting in the wings, are they gonna spend the money to re-sign a guy like Jacobs? But then again, we haven't seen much of Zamir White, so we don't really have much of a sample size on him yet.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we can build a lead and we can get Zamir White some carries and see what he has to offer. Right? Like a couple games, he's got 1 to 2 carries, but besides that, nothing to really speak of. Also, with keys to victory, I like to see DC, work the middle of the field, middle to deep a little bit. Run, maybe take a shot downfield. Run, maybe something medium across the middle. And then that would be more Foster Moreau or Hunter Renfrow if Renfrow plays. And Mac Hollins, who's also on the injury list, he's listed as questionable. If he's going to play, I'd like to see a little bit more. I haven't hit that one huge game, and I'm like, what? I heard a lot of good stuff about him coming out of preseason. Then he's kind of fallen off, but luckily Devontae has been there picking it up a little bit, and I expect Devontae to have a good game again. I just want to see Carr spread it a little bit more. Don't turn the ball over, and let the running game do the work.
Absolutely, that's key. I mean, if Carr can do that, throw the ball down the field, run it when he has to, and just get all this talent involved. I mean, we can certainly finish up the season pretty nice, but everything's got to come together. The time is now.
Absolutely. They got to put the pedal to the metal and roll right through. So we'll go to our final score predictions. Rob, you ready for that?
Yeah. You want me to go first?
If you'd like, that's up to you. You're the mayor. You tell me.
I'll go. I'm going to go 24-14 Raiders.
All right. I'm going 31-17 Raiders. I think it's going to be a nice win for Raider Nation. I think the defense plays well enough. 17 points, isn't, anything, to write home to mom and dad about, but it's still pretty good for our defense. And I think offensively we're going to look pretty good. I want to see more touchdowns and field goals this time. I want to see 4 field goals, 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and I'm happy. More touchdowns than field goals.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely.
As much as Carlson's been awesome, he's getting a lot of work, and it's it says something. Our offense is getting there, just not putting it all the way through.
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Anybody that has him as a kicker on their fantasy team has had a hell of a season from a kicker standpoint. But
Absolutely.
I'm with you, man. We get it down there. We get it in the red zone, and we're just not getting it done. And we need to get it done with all this talent that they have offensively. I mean, there's no real excuse for it. I can't other than bad play calling or things just not being gelled together. I mean, I can't really think of any other excuse for it, and I don't want to sit here and be making goddamn excuses in week 7, for Christ's sake.
No, we want to sit here and we want to talk about a Raider victory and what it's going to look like next week when they win, and the week after that. We don't want to have to sit here and well, they didn't put it in the end zone again because they're kicking field goals because there's a penalty, or because DC missed an open receiver, or so and so missed a block or whatever. We don't want to be talking about that. We want to talk about a great catch that Renfro had or something like that. To put the touchdown in, or Jacobs had a 15-yard run.
Right, or Devontae Adams had 3 touchdown catches, or something like that.
Well, and just a few weeks ago, he had those 3 touchdown catches, but he only had 20 yards receiving. So
right,
whatever.
Right.
That's like the old days of Jerome Bettis, the last Steelers Super Bowl, where the only time he'd get the ball was on the 1 yard line. He had more touchdowns than carries that season.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So, hopefully we can get the offense together, because I've been sitting here doing a lot of yelling at the TV, and I certainly do not want to see a loss to the Texans, because I might be out here having mental breakdowns if that happens.
You won't have to worry about shaving your head; you'll be losing your hair.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's going to go well. I think the Raiders are going to have a good game coming off a bye week. There's no reason, not to have a good game. They had an extra week to prepare for the Texans, which is more than enough. So, and hopefully they're not looking past them. That's the only like you said before. Hopefully it's not looking past them or looking by them. Thinking, oh, this is a cakewalk. And they go there, the Texans come into Allegiant Stadium, and the Raiders take care of business.
Well, yeah, and I think that the Raiders are taking the Texans very seriously, from what I've seen in the press conferences this week with McDaniels and Carr. They are concerned about the Texans running game. And then they had a press conference with McDaniels, and he was talking about this young defense that they have. So I don't think they're taking it very lightly from what I've listened to and what I've seen. No, I don't think they believe that it's a cakewalk.
Yeah, and they shouldn't either. These are professionals, and so yeah, they should come out there with that mindset and take care of business.
So today there was a little bit of breaking news here in Raider Nation. Now, if you remember back to August, it was mentioned on our show that there was a minority investor, a person that was looking to invest to be a minority owner in the Raiders. And you had joked, Ken, that it was me. I can tell you.
I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking, Rob. I thought it was you.
I can tell you for the record that it is not me. I wished I had that kind of money to be throwing around, out here. But 5-time NBA champion, ex-Laker point guard Magic Johnson is slated to be the Raiders minority owner. Apparently, he's trying to put an ownership group together to buy a minority stake in the Raiders. Now, it hasn't been disclosed how much they would have to pay to have a stake in the Raiders, but I can tell you, based on stuff that I have looked at. Okay, the Raiders are approximately worth, I believe it was around $6 billion. That's billion with a B. Okay, and they are one of 14 teams in the NFL that are worth $4 billion or more. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys are the highest value team, and then the Cincinnati Bengals are the lowest value team at $2.8 billion.
That's still a lot of change.
Still a lot of change. You're not going to find that kind of money in the couch cushion.
Yeah, absolutely not. Maybe 2.1 billion, but definitely not 2.2.
But I'm not surprised. Not surprised that Magic Johnson would want to buy into the Raiders. From what I understand, he's been a Raiders fan for a very long time. Going back to the LA days, and at one point in time, when the Raiders left Los Angeles to go back to Oakland, Magic Johnson was trying to secure an ownership group at one point to bring the Raiders back, to Los Angeles. It never materialized. So, Magic has been a Raiders fan, for a long time. And also, Magic off the court, since his playing days have been over, he's invested in multiple business ventures. And he also is a minority owner in Major League Baseball of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'm not surprised that he would want to, have some action in this sports market. I mean, yeah, you've got the Davises with the owning the Raiders and the Las Vegas, Aces. And then you've got LeBron James talking about an NBA team here. So hell, well, yeah, why not bring Magic Johnson into the fold too?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know that he was looking to take the Raiders to LA. I didn't know that, but I did know obviously that he was a minority owner into the Dodgers. And that's kind of when the Dodgers started turning their franchise around. I don't know how many, like 10 years ago. I think it was somewhere around there when he and a couple groups bought the Dodgers, and they started spending money. Actually, there was a decent lull there from when the Dodgers were really good to where they're at now, where they weren't really doing anything. And it was just they were just the Dodgers. There wasn't a whole lot to speak about with them. But when he and a couple other groups took it over, they started putting money back into the team, started bringing in some high-priced talent, started making some decent trades. And the Dodgers have been pretty much year in and year out a juggernaut. I mean, in the playoffs, not this year, but they've won a World Series, and they've been to playoffs pretty much almost every year that they've since he's been a part of that group. So that'd be awesome if he was able to invest. That would definitely bring some more recognition to the Raiders and his entrepreneurial wisdom and expertise and stuff like that. I think it's all only good. It only good can come out of it. And so I think it'd be really interesting to see. It's he can't really that since there's a salary cap, it's not like he can really help to buying to bring in a more high priced talent, but his name alone could bring in some high priced talent. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And too, maybe he could give Mark Davis better advice on better hairstyles or something.
I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there.
I have to say something about the haircut anytime I get a chance to. Actually, the Vegas sports radio stations, they refrain people from calling in and talking about Mark Davis's hair. they don't allow you to do it. They'll terminate the call if you start talking about his hair.
Not here on Out of the Box Sports Network. We're out of the box. We'll talk about haircuts and whatever the hell else we want to talk about.
Not here. Yeah, we'll talk about whatever we want to talk about. Damn it.
No cuffs here, man.
No, absolutely not. This is this is free reign here. You know, there's nobody going to be nobody going to be taking us off the network unless Paul Spencer gets on the controls and you know, cuts the show off or whatever. But you know, he's too busy training for this fight, you know, that he's going to have out here.
Oh, I see you say. Go ahead.
Coming to a Las Vegas venue near you very soon.
Yeah, I heard he was pretty close to signing a fight against a little known 50-year-old boxer. Hang on, let me look it up here. Iron Mike Tyson. I never heard of him before. So that's who Paul's first opponent's going to be, is this kid, this old man. He's old now. Iron Mike Tyson. I guess he's done a thing or two. He had a lot of knockouts and victories, but yeah, he's old now. So,
well, he's very busy with his legal marijuana business out here. He's into that now.
Who's that, Paul or Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I did hear that somewhere, that he has a pretty good business going out there with the legal marijuana and stuff like that. So good for him, because I know there's a lot of ups and downs in his life. A lot of it self-inflicted, some of it not self-inflicted, or people took advantage of him, took his money. But it's good to see that he's doing well. You know, he's not. You know, right. I'm sure that the sticky icky's helping him out too with his past injuries, and like, you know, I know like some of his mood swings, and I heard he had headache problems and stuff. So I'm sure the old sticky icky, that stuff's helping him out a lot. Also testing his product.
Yeah, I saw a picture the other day. I think it was him and the Nature Boy Ric Flair were out here promoting some kind of cannabis. Oh boy, I would have loved to have been a fly on that wall while that was going on.
Oh my God, the stories between those two. Oh my God.
Geez, yeah. I mean, definitely. So, yeah, our boy Paul Spencer, you know, coming to a ring in an arena near you out here in Las Vegas. He hasn't officially asked me to manage him yet, but yeah. I would imagine we're going to have him out here, you know, running around the desert chasing chickens.
Greasy lightning fast. There we go.
Right. So, yeah, we'll transition into some Golden Knights here. I mean, they're off to a real fast start. You know, right now they're just playing phenomenal hockey. They're off to like a 4 or
I think they're 5-1.
5-1 start. You know, going into the season here, and you know, first in the Pacific Division. So. You know, they had a good stretch of games this week, going back to, you know, last Saturday night. They played the Seattle Kraken. They beat the Kraken 5-2. Jonathan Marchessault, he scored twice in the win. Keegan Kolesar also scored. Riley Smith scored, and Shane Theodore also scored to help the Golden Knights win their third straight game to open the season. And then Aiden Hill, the goaltender for the Golden Knights, you know, stopped 31, had 31 saves in that contest. So, with that, they also played Calgary this week. You know, they didn't have good luck, north of the border. You know, Calgary's been tough to play in recent years. In the Western Division, you know, in that division out here. So they've always been kind of tough to play. But the Calgary Flames had a 3-2 victory against the Golden Knights Tuesday in Calgary, and they had, at that point, they had gone to 3-0 on their season, where we had dropped to 3-1, and that's been our only loss so far. As the season has started in the early start to the season here.
Yeah.
And then we had a pretty nice game against Winnipeg the other night. Jack Eichel scored twice. Aiden Hill had 26 saves for the Golden Knights, giving us a 5-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets. And another significant thing in that game, Shea Theodore played his 400th NHL game. So that was what was significant, for that game. So yeah, we're off to a pretty good start here. I'm impressed with the play so far. They've given us some good hockey to watch out here, and they're going up against the Colorado Avalanche. They're actually playing right now, and it's actually tied 1-1 at the end of tied at 1 at the end of the first period. So it's another interesting game, for the Golden Knights. But I'm expecting some good hockey, from them for the season. And it's the only sport that I can get Celeste to watch. She's really into hockey. So we'll sit here and we'll watch every Golden Knights game, and then too, I'll occasionally put the Flyers on, and surprisingly, the Flyers have been doing pretty well. How about your Los Angeles Kings?
Well, the 3-4, they're sitting 3-4. They just lost today. They were just on a 5-game road trip, and they ended up going 3-2 there, which isn't terrible. They lost to the Caps, and they lost to it wasn't Nashville. Who the hell was it? But they had a pretty good road trip, 3-2. They lost the first 2 at home. One was to Vegas. It seems like they're putting plenty of goals up. They're giving up a shit ton of shots though, but it seems like all their stars are doing their jobs. Their penalty killing and their penalty their power play is just it's not where it needs to be. Last year, that was one of the things that really hurt them in the playoffs, is whenever they did get a power play, they couldn't score. And whenever they're on penalty killing, they had a hard time with it. So I like against Nashville, they had, I think, eight power plays, which is a lot. And I think they were 2 for 8, which is, they got a couple goals in there, but, you'd like to see them at least go, another goal, or, 50% is unheard of, but still that many in that kind of game was a high scoring game. But yeah, the Kings, they've started off all right. They're sitting, I think, 4th or 5th right now. They've played 2 more games than what or 1 more game than what the Vegas Golden Knights have. So yeah, so that it's early in the season. We'll have to, hopefully they can turn things around their defense. I think the one game, Jonathan Quick saw 51 shots, saved 47 of them, but they lost that game. Quite a few games where we're giving up 35, 40 shots, and that's just too many, in my opinion, on the goalie. And I know the other day against Pittsburgh, they got slaughtered by Pittsburgh. It was 6-0 before you blinked. It was unbelievable that they had Anderson starting in goal, and Anderson or Peterson, I can't remember. I always forget the guy's name, the backup goalie. It's either Anderson or Peterson. It's one of those two, Rob. All right.
Right. I don't expect you to be perfect.
And so I think he gave up 4 goals really quick, and I think it was the second period they brought Jonathan Quick back, and he was taking a couple games off, and just like a snap of a finger, the Penguins had 2 goals up on him. So I think that the final that game ended up being 7-1, 8-1, maybe somewhere around there, and they didn't get their goal until I think the last maybe 2 minutes of the game. So it was kind of ugly, but again, the road trip wasn't terrible. They started off 3-0 and they lost their last 2 on the road trip. But it'd be good for them to get back home, take a day off, and and get back to it. Kempe's been playing good. Denault has been playing really good. So
it's early in the season.
Oh my God, yeah.
Hockey's such a hockey's such a long season, and we discussed that. I believe on last week's show. I'm gonna try to get to a couple of Golden Knights games this year. I would really like to. I'd really like to get to the Flyers game when they come out here because I've been to a Golden Knights Flyers game in the past, and one thing that we can say about Philly fans is they certainly travel.
That's the one thing you can't say about Philly fans is as much as a lot of them are jerk offs, they can travel very, very well. Whether it's football, baseball, hockey, basketball, it seems like they travel well. There's fans all across the country, are everywhere. The Philly fans are everywhere. They're scattered across the country. It's really impressive the kind of fan base they have. So I give them props for that. They're a rabid fan base, and they'll go anywhere to watch a game.
That's true. I've noticed that. I've noticed that since I've been out here. I mean, I've come across a lot of Philly fans. Even a lot of New York fans. There's a lot of people from New York that travel here. So the question you always ask them, when you meet a New Yorker, is it the Mets or the Yankees? Is it the Giants or the Jets? And you'd be surprised sometimes that the answers you get. But yeah, I mean, there's a mixture of everything out here. But I would say it's pretty much Philly, New York, Chicago, and then of course with California being so close, you always have the Dodgers fans, the Lakers fans. You had a lot of Kings fans that were here before the Golden Knights came. A lot of people that I knew out here before the Golden Knights came. If they didn't support a hockey team from somewhere else, it was that there were a lot of people supporting the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. So it was interesting, to live here when there was really no sports going on, and now living here and seeing how it's transformed over the last almost 8 years for me now. This coming July will be 8 years. It's unbelievable that 8 years went by as fast as it did.
Yeah, it has gone really quick for you. Yeah.
It seems like just yesterday I was leaving Pottsville to go to the airport, and it just doesn't seem like it's been eight years since I've been out here. But what I'm gonna do next week, because I've noticed on the Bat Cave, you do like a top 10 list. I think this week it was your top 10 favorite cereals.
Yeah, breakfast cereals. Yeah.
I don't even know if I would have a top 10 list for cereals. I might have a top maybe 3 or 4, but I don't know
that's still a list, Rob.
But I don't know about a top 10. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a bowl of cereal.
We eat a lot of cereal in this house, especially the little guy. He eats a lot of cereal. Usually when I come home after work on night shift, I'll have a bowl before the kids get up and I start getting them ready for school. But when I go to the store and I go down the cereal aisle, I usually look for different kinds of cereal that we haven't had or I've never had. And I'll try them out, once or whatever. If I like it, I'll get it again and let the kids try it, see what they think. And I'm always open to trying different types of cereal.
But what I will do next week, and I was thinking about this today before the show, but I'll save it for next week. I will do a top 10 list of what I miss from Schuylkill County.
There you go. That's a good one, man. If you can think of 10.
I think I could put a top 10 list of things that I miss from back there. So stay tuned. That's gonna be a good one. And like I told you on Facebook last Sunday, actually last Saturday after the show, I took an opportunity and I watched I watched School Ties, which I thought was very, very good.
Yeah.
And actually, I rewatched it again Sunday morning when I woke up because for some odd reason, and I don't know what it is, but when I have an opportunity to sleep in out here, I'm usually up at the crack of dawn, and I can't figure out why I'm up early. And then on days when I can't sleep in, I want to sleep in. So I don't know. It's something weird that I'm going through right now. I don't know what the hell is going on. But anyway, I watched this movie, and Celeste was up fairly early too, and we sat and watched the movie together. And she's not really into sports. She's not really into sports movies, but even she said, that movie was really good. Next up on the list is the original Longest Yard. I found that on one of my streaming services. So that's next up on the list. And then I actually have to go back to last week's show and listen to your top 10 list again, because I knew there were a couple other ones on there too that I wanted to check out, but I couldn't remember what they are. So I'll just have to go back and refer to last week's episode to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Evan said. Like, oh, look at Ken rolling out the B-list movies here. And honestly, those movies weren't very popular or even recognized as like School Ties. You don't really think of it as a football movie, but it is kind of centered around football. The kid gets a scholarship to a private school to play football, to help them play football, even though he's a different religious beliefs than what the other kids are, to kind of blows up in their face a little bit. And even though he helps them win the big game, his teammates, some of his teammates got kind of jealous, and stuff like that.
Right, and like I said to you last weekend when we did the show, I myself had no idea, that movie was about football. But yeah. I took a look at it, and from a sports movie standpoint and a football movie standpoint, I mean, I thought it was very very good, and it just told it just told the story very well, and it shows it shows the differences that we maybe once had in this country, and even some of the issues that we are having today or facing today too. So
absolutely.
I thought it was very good. Now, like I said, probably tonight I will take an opportunity after the show to watch the original Longest Yard.
Yeah, as a kid, I seen that movie. I don't remember a lot about it. I do remember that there were some, like in the Adam Sandler version, you had a bunch of the NFL players or professional wrestlers. I think the old version, the original Longest Yard, I believe they have the same type of things where they have some professional football players in there, and also some professional wrestlers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I think there's a couple Raiders in there too. I can picture the guy's face right now, but I can't think of what his name is. I want to say Ted Hendricks, I believe, is in that movie, but I can't remember if that's him or not.
Well, one ex-Raider that always sticks out to me when it comes to acting was Carl Weathers. Him. He did some acting and stuff, other than Rocky, but he became probably his most famous during those Rocky films. But I like the top 10 list, and it doesn't always have to be about sports.
No, and that's what I love about Out of the Box Sports. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like, subscribe, follow, Twitch. That's one of the things I love about doing these podcasts with Out of the Box Sports Network is we're not boxed into just talking sports or whatever. We can kind of go outside the box a little bit. We can talk about what we want, and they're not totally out of the box, not crazy, but we could take it different places. So I really enjoy that. That's one of the things I love about this network, and and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not scripted. We're not told what to say or do. There are really no bosses here. Everybody has a piece of this thing, and we're all in this together, essentially, and we all have a say as to what goes on here. There's not one or two people that are just running the whole thing.
No, yeah, it's all of us. We all have input, and and Paul, takes everybody's input, and we put together when we see what works well, and all of our shows I think are fantastic shows, and everybody on there is very, very knowledgeable, and they do a good job, getting their shit in, getting their stuff together, and it's a lot of good stuff that happens on this network.
Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love. We all have a love for sports. We all are very passionate about what we talk about, and we do put time into putting these shows together, and discussing topics and content, and what have you. So why don't we have you go over the rest of the shows here on our great network?
Oh, you got it, buddy. I'll do that for us. So on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. we have the Fight Club 215. All your combat sports, MMA, lots of boxing talk on there. Then Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. You have the Bat Cave with myself talking. First and foremost, my beloved New York Metropolitans and their terrific season just fell short there in the playoffs, and kind of fell off a cliff there in September again. Then Wednesdays at 8 p.m. you have the College Football Frenzy. A day like today, Saturday, lots of college football games. Check those guys out every Wednesday at 8 p.m. as they cover your top 25, outside the top 25. Lots of betting talk. Then Wednesdays at 9:30, Dem 215 boys talking to your Dallas Cowboy football. Guys, they keep it real. They're not homers. They speak their minds about the Cowboys, good and bad. Thursdays at 8 p.m., your 4for4 Locker Room podcast. Big Mike's 4for4 Locker Room podcast, talking your Philly sports. Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, 76ers. Last I checked, Rob, the Phillies were up 10-6 because JT Realmuto hit a solo home run, so they're taking care of business right now. The Phillies
nice.
Yeah, so right now it's the bottom of the eighth, 10-6. And so Big Mike, lots of Phillies talk there. Flyers, 76ers, basketball season kicked off. Then Fridays at 8 p.m. you have Big Blue Power Hour with Evan Stacy talking your New York Giants football. Giants having a great start to the season. So hopefully they can keep it rolling. Then Saturday at 7:30 a.m. Saturdays you have Out of the Ring podcast talking professional wrestling. Your WWE, AEW, big time professional wrestling stuff. Lots of stories going on in pro wrestling. Pro wrestling seems to be getting really hot right now. Then Saturdays at 10 p.m., the Las Vegas sports scene with Rob and myself talking to Vegas Raiders, Vegas Golden Knights, and the other goings on in Las Vegas sports wise, WNBA. Like we talked today about Magic Johnson potentially being a minority owner. UNLV getting crushed by Notre Dame. Rob, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I didn't expect them to go out there and upset Notre Dame, but as a Las Vegas local, I am glad to see that the alumni, the administration at UNLV are trying to rebuild the program. They've got they're playing in Allegiant Stadium also, so we certainly have the facilities to attract recruits. UNLV is a great academic institution as well, and of course, hell, at times I wished I would have made this Vegas move a little sooner in my life. Not that I'm a man of regret, but I wonder what Rob Hefner would have been like out here as a college kid.
College grad, Rob. You had
think
a college
about
grad.
think about that.
You'd be a doctor somewhere or a mayor.
Oh, and two, we have to mention our fine sponsors. We can't forget about them guys.
And we got to pay the bills, like Rob said. We got Jay Fine Law, aka Big Al, for all your personal injury needs. Call 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. With his offices located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Once again, that's Jay Fine Law, aka Big Al. Tell him the Vegas sports scene guys sent you. He'll give you a good rate. He'll hook you up for all your personal injury needs. Call 1-800-HURT-123, 1-800-HURT-123, with his offices located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Also, we have a newer sponsor here, Castle Boxing, Castle Boxing Gym out of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. A great gym there. Professional boxers, Golden Glove boxers, lots of amateur boxers. They're constantly putting on shows on and stuff like that. So go ahead and check out their website, their Facebook page, see what's coming up with them, see what's open with them, check out their gym, and maybe even go to some of their events and check them out. Lots of great boxing. They have the 10th ranked boxer in the world fighting out of there, Trigger Trayshawn Williams, who was on the Fight Club 215 not too long ago, and also the Castle Boxing owner was also on the Fight Club 215 not that long ago. So
yeah, both great interviews. I mean,
absolutely, those ones are must listen. Those ones I listened to live because I was really interested to see how it would go. And Paul and Joey did a great job interviewing those guys, and those guys, super nice guys, down to earth. Especially Trayshawn Wiggins. I was really surprised. Very down to earth. Really, soft spoken, kind. I was really surprised. I didn't know what I was to expect, but I never really sat there and watched a boxer interview before either.
I thought so too. For a fighter, it was a very good interview. And then the owner of the Castle Boxing, that was also a great interview too. With Paul and Joey. So. Job well done. And I try to watch every show live. I don't always get to, but that's what the YouTube channel is for. That's what that's what liking us on Facebook does. The old Twitter machine, liking us on
Twitter
Twitch.
machine.
I mean, like us everywhere you can. Stay up to date. Because every time we go live, you'll get a notification. Every time our lovely faces go on the air, you'll get a notification.
Yep, absolutely. You'll hit like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, and you'll help us out.
So that's all I really have, buddy. And we'll get out of here, and we'll see everybody next week.
I got one thing to say to you, Rob. Just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
Hey, peace.